Welcome back to my videos, and in this video we're going to bring you guys the new best bloodline tier list in Shindo Life. Now there's been 4 new bloodlines and a ton of bloodline changes and updates to a lot of the better bloodlines in the game, so of course I have to bring you guys a new one to keep you guys updated and in the know-how on what the best bloodlines in the game are. So if you guys enjoyed this video, hit that like button, let's go right to the video, guys. Alright, so for this tier list we're going to go back to the broken, almost broken type of tier list, and in this tier list I'm going to be a little more harsh on the bloodlines. I'm going to be ranking them lower than I normally would, simply because I feel like people are getting kind of convoluted with all the different bloodlines being almost broken and broken, so I'm going to be doing it and limiting them as much as possible. So starting off with the Kuma, going to be going to really good. It's overall a pretty good KG for being such an uncommon one. I mean, like, it is really good, especially for the M1 combos you can do with it and the auto dodge. Everything about it is pretty decently overall, and it's very, very good for the rarity it actually has. Gojo guys, going to be going above that and really good. It does have an iframe move right now that you can use during combos, which will last a long time. It does drain more chi than normal, but it does do more damage, and it can actually set up your combos if you do it properly. Not only that, but the third ability is also another iframe that isn't on the Sunbokuu cooldown. Ashes Storm is going to be going into Met. Ashes Storm overall, it's pretty hard to hit sometimes, and half the time you could dash away and it won't even affect you. So right now in this meta, it's pretty bad. As Rush is going to go to bad. Its saving grace is kind of the Z spec, and they can dash into you for the Z spec, which makes it pretty bad overall because they can start up combos, which otherwise they wouldn't have been able to do. As Zipseko is going to go into good. Overall, Zipseko is actually a pretty decent KG, mainly for the counter. The actual abilities of it do a lot of damage, but half the time you won't hit them. Bankai Kuma is going to be our first almost broken one. The second move is a place-lock stun that lasts longer than Satori's stun now, and obviously that is really good. Not only that, but it does have an auto dodge, and it does have a pretty high DPS output, and it obviously has that pretty good C spec. Black Shock's going to be to the bottom of bad. Black Shock, there's not really any redeeming qualities other than the Z spec, and even then you could use any other stun combo extender just because it's just kind of falling out of the meta. Blood's going to go to the bottom of almost broken. The amount of blood combos that are possible simply because this blood basically has like the longest stuns in the game is kind of crazy. If you are a combo user, definitely pick up Blood. Bolt's gonna go to the bottom of Met. You know, even though Bolt isn't really a good KG, it can be used for combo extending. It actually does do a decent amount of damage as well. Boramaki's going to go to the top of good. Overall, Boramaki's actually a decent KG. It's mainly meant for zoning people, but you can use it for combo extending as well. Bubble's going to go to the top of bad. Right now, with wider dash being a thing, Bubble's completely useless. Clay is actually going to the bottom of good. Clay overall, you can stay in the air for literally infinite amount of time, and the mode rate on it is so small that you basically be permanently moded with Clay. Now, the redeeming quality is that the abilities, it's very hard to hit. It's kind of just like Forge Red, but you're flying on a Clay bird. Cobra is actually going into good above Clay. This is going to be for a first, but I actually do think that the extra life on the mode is kind of the saving grace of it, but do not use the mode and click with it because it will drain your mode like crazy. Now, Crystal's going to go to the bottom of bad. Now, before you guys go into the comment section, you're like, oh, Crystal and bad, I have an OP combo with it. I beat someone using Shindai Red Goku while using Crystal. First of all, nobody asked, and second of all, that doesn't really matter. It's overall, and Crystal isn't nearly as good as the other KGs in the game, obviously, even though it is good for comboing. You know, I'll put it above Black Shock. Dangan is actually going into Met. I'm actually going to put Dangan below Ashes Storm and Met. Even though the abilities are really long range, it could do a decent amount of damage. They are blockable, and the counter of it is by far one of the worst counters in the entire game, and the mode is borderline useless. Now, for Diva Rengoku, Diva Rengoku is going to be going into good as well. I'm actually good putting Diva Rengoku probably at the top of good. You know, it has a lot of iframes. The AoE on it is pretty terrible. The chance of you hitting the abilities is very small, but it does have a lot of iframes. It does have a lot of combo potential with the first ability, I guess. Diosenko is actually going into almost broken at the top of almost broken. The second mode of Diosenko is obviously very good. I'm sure a lot of guys have known that by now ever since, you know, I posted a video about it, and it got a lot of views. So people have been using it a lot since then, and overall the mode is actually pretty good, even though it does drop your FPS like crazy. Not only that, but the abilities of it are actually pretty decent too. Eastwood Karashi is actually going into the it's going to be going into the good tier. Now, it's going to be going into good, probably, honestly, it'll go at the top of good. It is one of the best combo extending blends in the game right now because all of the abilities are instant. It just doesn't have the damage output, but it is really good at extending combos. Emerald is actually going into Met. I'm actually putting Emerald probably below Dong and above Bolt. Emerald, you know, I know people say it does a lot of damage, and it does do a lot of damage, but there's almost no reason to ever use this over a different bloodline, and it also doesn't really have anything special about it. Explosion is moving into bad. I'm actually putting Explosion probably at the top of bad. All of the abilities are instant. It does a good amount of damage. I haven't really used it that much, or I might have put it in a meh, but I've heard Explosion is actually a lot better than people think. Forge Rengoku is going into almost broken. I'm putting it at the bottom. The only reason for this is because it's just, I mean it when I say this, it is impossible to hit people on top of that dumb statue thing. You can't even pull them in because they are like stuck to the statue. Their butt cheeks are glued to the statue's shoulder. So It's just really, really good for escaping. It's really good for annoying people, and it's honestly really, really good for just running around. Frostfire, now this is going to be a huge surprise to people, like absolutely massive. Frostfire and Scorch, let me find it. Frostfire and Scorch are going to be going into good. Oh my, yes. And they're going to be into good above Zipseko, below Boramaki. I'm actually going to be putting it above. These bloodlines do so much damage now, it is actually unreal. Like, if from using all the abilities in succession, you do 120,000 damage. I'm gonna let that sink in. Scorch went from being the absolute most garbage bloodline in the game to being actually good. That's crazy. Ghost Karashi obviously going into good as well. I'm putting Ghost Karashi probably below Diva Ren and above Scorch. Ghost Karashi, after the M1s got nerfed, it kind of lost its flair because also the auto dodge got nerfed, so you can't really use that either, and the other abilities of her are just mainly meant for annoying people. Giovanni Shizen is going to be going into meh. I'm actually putting Giovanni Shizen at the top of meh. It does have the potential to do the most damage out of any bloodline in the game, but the abilities are just so weird to use. I would say the only redeeming quality of Giovanni Shizen right now is that you can use the first ability to kind of avoid people. Gold Sand, obviously going into bad. I know there's some Gold Sand lovers out there. I'm sorry. Hair is going to go into bad as well. I'm actually putting Hair at the top of bad. It still has potential to do a lot of damage, but it is kind of butchered at this point. Wanziame definitely going to go into meh as well. Put it at the top of meh. It's mainly meant for the mode. I know people could kind of like go crazy over the mode, but the actual abilities of it are very bad. Now, Ice is actually going to bad as well. I'm gonna treat it with the same disdain that I treated Crystal. It's good for combos, but that's literally it. Now, when it comes to Inferno is going to go to meh as well. I know Inferno can be really, really good for extending M1 combos, but there's so many other M1 combo extenders in the game right now that are much better that there's literally no reason to ever use Inferno, and it doesn't really have anything special about it considering the third ability does like 0 damage. Ink, I'm not gonna lie to you guys, I know there's a bunch of Ink lovers out there, and I actually thought Ink was good until I used it. Oh my gosh, if you ever use Ink against someone spamming stronger block or a wider dash, you cannot hit it. I'm being dead serious, you will never hit Ink. I'm actually going to be putting Ink at the top of meh because of this. The abilities actually need to have either more AoE or better auto tracking, because you literally cannot hit this crap with people that are even somewhat decent at avoiding. So for Apollo Sand, I like to call it Iron Sand. I think Iron Sand is the actual name for it. Apollo Sand is actually going into probably good. It has the potential to do a lot of damage, but overall the abilities are just kind of, they require a different ability to set them up, so which is why it's not going to be ranked higher than it actually is now. Eternal's actually going into meh. Eternal, I'm gonna be dead honest with you guys. I need someone to explain to me why they think Eternal's so good. I use Eternal on a PvP video, everyone saw that, and yeah, it's just not a very good bloodline. I don't understand why people like it. I can get that it can combo extend, but there's so many better combo extenders in the game, and it is so hard to hit some of the abilities sometimes. So please tell me in the comments what you guys like so much about Eternal. Jeramaki's also be going into, I'll probably honestly put it in good. I'm going to be putting it below Boramaki and good. Jeramaki, it's honestly mainly good for the mode and the stun ability of it. The third ability is completely useless. Half the time you cannot even hit the ability just because of how many hand signs and how much startup the ability actually has. I'm actually going to be moving Eastwood up to the bottom of really good, by the way. So Jokai's going to be going into good as well. Jokai's going to be going into good. I'm probably honestly going to put Jokai above Apollo Sand and below Cobra, just because Jokai, you know, it's basically just Arahaki Jokai, but significantly less damage. So just keep that in mind when you use Jokai. There's a better version. Now Kakatu is actually going to be into the bottom of good. Kakatu actually has the potential to do really high damage output, and it actually is really good at M1 combo extending. Kaijin obviously going into meh. Kaijin's probably going to be going up below Eternal in meh. Kaijin is just not very good, you know, other than the monkey, and the monkey could get like 5 M1s and it's immediately dead. Now this may surprise people, but Kamaki is actually going into almost broken. I'm putting Kamaki probably below Bankai and almost broken. Kamaki is actually insane. It is a breakaway ability. The second ability, if you guys don't know, you can escape combos with it. So just keep that in mind when you use Kamaki. Not only that, but the third ability is an iframe that you can use to teleport to people. You know, C-Spec, C-Spec does a lot of damage as well. It's just like Kamaki's just a really good bloodline. It's just really hard to use sometimes. I'm actually putting Karada in good. Karada's going to be going into good, probably above Apollo Sand and below Jokai. When it comes to Karada, it actually is pretty decent overall, just because the abilities do have the potential to do a ton of damage to people. Kenichi's actually going into good as well. Kenichi's going to be going into good, probably honestly near the top of good. I'll be putting it at the top of good. Kenichi has a ton of bugs that kind of holds it back right now, but the C2 mode is great. It is amazing. Now this is going to blow people's minds, but Dokai is going to be going into really good above Eastwood Karashi. Dokai, you know, is one of the most common eye mutation bloodlines in the entire game. Jujutsu, sorry, you know, people are going to get salty that I said that, but when it comes to Dokai, it's so good for combo extending. It is crazy. Kanchu is actually going into good as well. I'm putting Kanchu probably I'll put it above Apollo-san in good. When it comes to Kanchu, it's really good for just annoying people or stealing people's chi, but that's about it. Lava, bottom of bad. I hate that bloodline. Light Jokai actually has kind of fallen from grace because it's been nerfed and nerfed and nerfed. So I'm actually putting it in really good. It's actually going to be going to the bottom of really good. Everything about it is still good. It is still a good bloodline, but it's not nearly as broken as it used to be, which may be a good thing. Mecha Spirit is going to be going into almost broken. The fact that it has one of the longest range block breakers in the game that does a decent amount of damage and one of the best combo extenders in the game, and it is also a Z spec that you can equip to your element slots. It's just crazy. It's crazy to think about. If I'm going to be honest with you, if the mode was even somewhat decent, this bloodline would be considerably broken. But since the mode is trash, it's going to be at the bottom of almost broken. Minakami is going to go to the top of meta. You know, ever since the lizard got nerfed, there's nothing really special about the bloodline. Minakaze, I know this bloodline's still really good. I'm going to be putting it into almost broken, but I don't know what's so great. Like, I don't know why people think it's still broken. It's definitely not. It's definitely in the almost broken tier. Probably honestly at the bottom. I'm actually going to be moving blood down here too. So when it comes to Minakaze, the abilities are actually really counterable, but if you do not counter the abilities, you will get crushed. Now Mud is obviously going into probably, I'm probably gonna putting in bad near the top. Mud is actually pretty decent, you know, for combos and things like that, but outside of it, Mud is completely useless. Naramaki actually received a buff. The second ability is no longer on the auto dodge global cooldown. So Naramaki has been buffed multiple times now, and Naramaki, I feel good to say this because I actually like using Naramaki. It's actually really fun to use in all honesty. I'm going to be putting Naramaki into really good. I'm putting it to the bottom of really good because I feel like it doesn't have that wow factor, but it is significantly more fun to use than a lot of the bullets in the game. It actually is pretty decent to use now. Nature's getting into bad. I'm actually putting Nature probably near the bottom of bad just because the Woodbine stun doesn't auto track perfectly. Nectar's getting into good. I'm actually putting Nectar near the bottom of good. People say this bloodline's good, so I'm going to take their word for it, but other than that, I haven't really used it. Odin Sabaru is going to be going into almost broken. I'll put it into really good. Odin Sabaru is going to be going into really good. I'm actually putting Odin Sabaru probably above Dokai, below Akuma. The block breaker on Odin Sabaru is the main reason why it's here, but that one ability obviously wouldn't make it in this place. It does have pretty decent abilities overall, and the mode is amazing. Okami's actually going to the bottom, like not the bottom of bad. I'll put it probably I'll put it below Harem bad. You know, half the time the abilities don't work, which is the only reason why it's ranked this low. Paper is going to be going to good, obviously. I'm putting Paper probably I'll put it below Kanchu, above Apollo-san. Overall, Paper does a significantly high damage output, but actually has been nerfed, obviously. Atomic's going to be going to meh. Atomic's going to be going to meh. I'm probably going to put Atomic near the top of meh, just because I think all right, you know, all right, if people are going to get mad, I'll put it in good, okay, guys? I'll put it in good, probably right here. Atomic has the potential to do lots of damage and has pretty decent stunning overall. Now, Pikasenko is actually going into really good as well. I'm putting Pikasenko probably, honestly, at the bottom really good. It is really good for traveling, and the first ability has been buffed. So the first ability does give you M1 Prio now, which makes it an M1 combo extender, which is always a good thing, right? You know, Vine, even though it is really annoying to fight, and it is just really annoying to face, I'm actually going to putting Vine into good, probably below Jaramaki. Now, even though it's annoying to fight, the abilities are kind of useless other than the second ability, which is the auto dodge. The auto dodge would probably put it above Jaramaki, honestly. All right, so Ryan Akuma, I'm sure you guys all know how good this is. It actually has been nerfed. The iframes on the third ability were nerfed, but it still is an amazing bloodline. It's still super toxic to fight as well. I'm actually putting Ryan Akuma probably at the top of almost broken. It's kind of hard to explain, but I feel like there's only one broken bloodline in the game right now. There's only one. The rest of the abilities are kind of, you know, okay, you know, I'll put it in broken. It does need some nerfs still. I'll put it in broken because of that, but I feel like there's one bloodline that is just so stupidly broken that it kind of just eliminates the broken tier. Ryan Ren is actually going to almost broken now as well. Ryan Ren, I'm going to be putting it probably above Forge Ren, below Kabaki. Ryan Ren now is significantly better than it used to be because the second ability is actually basically an auto dodge like it used to be. Not only that, but it does have the third mode, which does tons of damage to people. Rengoku is going into good. I'm actually putting Rengoku at the top of good, just because Rengoku, you know, it's not very versatile. No, okay, the opposite. It's a very versatile bloodline, but it does need some changes to be the tip top of its perfection. I'm actually putting Rengoku to the bottom really good. I'm actually going to put Red Shiki as well. The Red Shiki is going to be where Rengoku was. I feel like Red Shiki counter definitely carries the bloodline. Other than that, Red Shiki is not a very great bloodline. Now this pains me to say it, but Riser Akuma, I'm being dead serious with this. This pains me to say it, but Riser Akuma is actually going to be going probably below Dokai. Yeah, it's just Riser Akuma just not that great right now. It's been nerfed. No buffs, no love for Riser, and Riser Akuma is actually my favorite Akuma, so that pains me to say it. Raikage Shizen, I'm actually going to be putting at probably honestly above Red Goku and really good. You know, it does have really high damage output, but the abilities are kind of they've kind of fallen back in the meta right now. It does have really high damage, but it doesn't really have the oomph that you need in the current comp meta. Ryuji Kidichi obviously going to be an almost broken. Now where it's going to be an almost broken is kind of the thing you got to consider here. I'm going to be putting it probably above or below Ryan. This is the I put it above Ryan Ren. It's mainly meant for the mode, and the mode's banned and competitive, but the mode is still amazingly good. All right, so Sabaru is actually going into good as well. Sabaru is going to be all right. Some of these need moved down to Matt. I'm sorry, but the good tier is getting way too large right now, so these are definitely getting moved. They're going to get moved down. It's just getting way too large right now. Okay. So that's a lot better. Sabaru's gonna be into good. I'm actually putting Sabaru to the bottom of good. It's really good for MO combo extending, and that's about it. Now Sand is actually going into Met as well. Sand's probably gonna be going near the bottom of Met in all honesty. It's probably gonna be going right here. Asher Storm needs moved up. You know, Asher Storm, it's better than where it is right now. Okay, so when it comes to Sand is mainly meant for the flight and running away. That's pretty much it. Now, Sriracha is actually a pretty decent bloodline. I'm not going to lie to you guys, Sriracha is pretty decent now. I'm putting Sriracha into really good, probably above Akuma and really good. Sriracha, all the abilities are instant, and all the abilities do a decent amount of damage overall. And not only that, but it's really, really good for getting your mode in competitive, just because of all the multi-hits that Sriracha actually has. Satori is going into almost broken. Now, where is the real question? Satori, I'm going to put it right below Bankai. I feel like Satori nestled there right below Bankai is the perfect spot for it, just because Satori, the third ability, was nerfed. But it still is a significantly better bloodline than almost the rest in the entire game, and it still has a crazy good mode. Seishin's definitely going into man. I'm putting Seishin probably above Paper below Kachu. Seishin is really good for just M1 combos or combos in general, but the C-Spec has so much end lag that you actually get punished half the time while using it. Now Sengoku, it should probably be in almost broken. Yeah, okay, it's not probably, it definitely needs to be in almost broken. I'm putting Sengoku probably above blood and almost broken. So Sengoku has the third mode, which is very, very annoying to fight. Actually, Sengoku, yeah, definitely needs to be moved up here because the third mode, really annoying to fight. It doesn't have a timer, and the counter of it is by far the best counter in the entire game. Not only that, but the stun range was increased, and the first ability is a block break iframe ability. Now this may surprise some people, but Senko is also going to get really good. I'm actually putting Senko right there below Akuma. Senko is actually really, really good bloodline right now, just because of the first ability and the fact that it has a time stop stun on the element slots. Shadow's going to get to meh. Shadow probably below Sand. It's just nerfed. It's not really good right now. So Shindo Ren was actually buffed. I'm putting Shindo Ren probably into really good. I'm putting Shindo Ren. I'll put it. It's either below or above Sriracha. I'll put it at the top really good. Why not? I know people are going to get mad that I put it in really good anyways. The third ability was buffed. It takes less chi now, so the counter is pretty good overall now. Now Shindai Akuma. Shindai Akuma actually has been buffed. I'm actually going to be moving Riser probably above Norimaki. Shindai Akuma is now above Riser. It's happened, boys. Shindai Akuma got the buff. Now, it only needs the second ability AoE to be slightly larger, and it would be probably very close to how good it used to be before. Shiver Akuma is definitely going above Shindai Akuma. It's really annoying to fight. It does decent amounts of damage. It is really, really good for combos, but overall, it's mainly meant for running away. Right, so Shizen's going to be into good. Shizen's probably going to be going below Diva Ren in good. Shizen is actually, I'm not going to lie, Shizen is, I'll put it in really good. Why not? Shizen's very close to beating Raikage Shizen because it actually has better abilities overall, but it doesn't have the significant damage output that Raikage Shizen actually has. Smoke, you know, it's gonna be good to good. It has a counter, it has a good travel ability. Now Sound is going to get to meh. Sound is actually pretty good, but it has actually a useless ability that would get you killed sometimes, so it has to be ranked this low because of that. Steam, obviously very terrible bloodline. Storm is actually a lot better than I thought it was. Storm we're going to be putting probably below Jokai in good. Storm has an ability that is literally an auto dodge counter. It lasts longer than auto dodges. It's an auto dodge counter. It's crazy. Tengoku is going to get really good as well. I'm probably putting Tengoku below Raikage. So Tengoku does have a lot of damage output, pretty decent combo extending, but it's very close ranged as a bloodline. Tsunami, gonna be good to good. It's good for boss farming, but that's honestly about it. You know, the first ability actually received a major nerf, like it should have, because it used to do a lot of damage. Typhoon's kind of in the same boat. It's kind of just a worse Tsunami at this point. I'm I'm actually moving these to the bottom as well. Xeno Dokai. Xeno Dokai is putting into good. I'm actually putting Xeno Dokai probably below, definitely below Cobra, above Jokai. Xeno Dokai literally just PvE only. It's not very good for PvP right now. Glacier is definitely going into good as well. Glacier's going into good. I'm going to be putting Glacier on. It's probably going to be pretty high up there, probably above Storm. It kind of has the same quality as Storm, where it actually is an auto dodge counter, and it is basically an auto dodge itself. Bankai Inferno is probably going into really good. It's definitely a really good bloodline, but it's probably going to be ranked low now because the breakaway was nerfed. I'm putting it below Pikaseko. Now, just because the breakaway was nerfed, it doesn't make the bloodline bad. It still is really good. It's just not as good as it used to be. Alfurama Shizen kind of lost its flair. The best ability, third ability, got the block breaker like literally completely removed, which was the best ability of Alfurama Shizen. So just because of that, it's probably going to be moving down to really good. I'm putting Alfurama Shizen probably above Dokai, below Odin. Now, Doku Tengoku, definitely an almost broken bloodline. It's probably gonna be put above Minakaze and below Blood, just because of the block breaker and the mode of Doku Tengoku is really good. Now, I definitely should be here, and Minakaze should definitely be above these as well. Satori Ren definitely going into the top of good. It's kind of mode carried right now, just because the abilities of her are pretty awful. Now, Web is going to be yet another elemental bloodline and almost broken. I'm putting it at the very bottom of almost broken. Web is so good. Like, the first ability, it's almost impossible to get away from it. I know people are like, block, dodge, and parry. Well, you can't, because it block breaks, it chases you down, and you can't. I mean, I guess you can parry it, but I'm pretty sure it still hits you even if you perfect blocked it. So when it comes to Web, it's just really good for M1 combos in general, and you guys know that's the meta right now. Shiro Glacier definitely going into really good. Shiro Glacier probably near the bottom of really good, in all honesty. I'm putting it probably below Pikaseko, above Bankai Inferno. It's mainly mode carried right now. The actual abilities of her are not that great, even though they're very good in combos, but by themselves they're pretty bad, and I know that firsthand. Alright, so let's talk about the new bloodline, Van Helsing. If you've forgotten to hit that like button on this video, go ahead and do it now. Van Helsing, top of almost broken. Rel knew what they were doing when they introduced this bloodline. I'm gonna be dead honest, they knew that this was gonna be such a heavy M1 combo bloodline. There's no way they didn't know that. The weapon spec, air combos. The first ability, you could do 2 M1 combos and they cannot get out of it without auto dodging. You know, the second ability, it's an iframe. Throwable, it's an iframe that does damage. The third ability is a dash ability that you can extend combos off of. And then the C spec, you can extend combos off of it because it has a little more end lag than the actual ability, but it is so good for just replenishing all your stats. This bloodline is the prime example of an M1 combo bloodline. This is probably the most M1 combo bloodline out of every bloodline in the entire game. And that makes it really good right now in this meta. Now, Kogoku, you guys know this is the broken one. There's a reason why the mode was banned, and it wasn't banned in the first place. Now, Kogoku mode, one of the best modes of the game. You have a weapon spec that allows you to run for people pretty much infinitely, and you can run away, right? But it is that combined with a block break, high damage, auto tracking ability. The auto tracks near perfectly to people, by the way. And not only that, but the C spec drains so much mode from you that if you did not block a single time, you instantly lost. I'm not even lying when I say that. In competitive, if the Kogoku mode user literally landed one C-spec on you, you instantly lost because they could have just C-spec, run away, and then you don't have mode, they have mode, and then you would pretty much instantly lose after that. Not only that, but it has one of the best combo extenders in the game right now. The second ability, really good. I do like using it, but I refrain from using it just because I know how good it actually is. By the way, I actually want to know what your guys' favorite bloodline is. Tell me in the comments below what your guys' favorite bloodline is, just so I know. I want to know what the most popular bloodline in the game is. Now, Variety Mud's name was actually changed to Aiden's Son's Mud, so Aiden's Son's Mud is going to be going into it up, you know. No, it's definitely bad. I'm going to put it below normal mud. It's actually pretty much worse than normal mud in every single way possible. I would do, by the way, guys, I would do this even if it still had my name on it. But when it comes to this bloodline, it's just like they did buff the third ability. It has less end lag now, but the actual abilities of her is still not that great. Anyways, guys, that's actually it for this video. If you guys enjoyed this video, hit that like, subscribe, more sex, guys. Bye-bye.